What's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see by the title, this is going to be a Q&A around the first year of motherhood. For those of you that are new, I am a mom of twin girls that just turned 1 in June. As I step into the second year of their life, I'm really finding myself looking back on this first year, and I'm really in this period of reflection. And so I thought it would be helpful to film this video to connect with others. That's really the reason that I film any of my videos, but it's also, I think, going to be therapeutic for me to look back on this year, and I just hope that it's helpful whatever season of life you're in. I did ask for questions from you all on my Instagram and on YouTube, and so thank you. I got so many questions, and to be honest, I haven't even looked through them yet. I typically like to not prepare for these videos because I think it's better to just speak off the cuff, to just see what emotions are evoked as I read through your questions and reflect on them in the moment, if that makes sense. So I am going to get into this video, but before I do, I did just want to take a few minutes and talk about one of my favorite brands, Ana Luisa. They just are close to my heart in all of their initiatives, the things that they value. There are so many brands out there, especially with jewelry in the fast fashion world, that do not operate ethically, that do not care about where their products end up. They don't care about how much their packaging ends in landfills. And Ana Luisa just continues to evolve and be even more thoughtful with how their company impacts the planet, and that just means so much to me. So they have a lot of programs in place to make sure that their products are treated responsibly from production to end life, and I really encourage you to read about all of their initiatives down below when I link their website. Clearly you get that I love Ana Luisa because of all of the great things that they do for our planet, but it's just a little cherry on top that their products are so good. Like, I am obsessed. Every piece that I have on right now is Ana Luisa, and this new bracelet that I just got in the mail and put on, I'm obsessed with. These gorgeous little flowers that are so cute for summer. Ana Luisa jewelry elevates your everyday. They offer long-lasting, tarnish-resistant jewelry essentials you can feel good about wearing. 100% of their pieces are strength and humidity tested, and their designs are affordable, starting at just $39. They extensively test products against tarnishing, allergies, damage, and breakage, but if you're not totally satisfied, they'll send you a replacement, a reimbursement, no questions asked. The quality of these pieces are just so good. They have everything that you could need, from silvers to golds to, formal wear, simple classic pieces. They just have it all, and I love working with them so much, and I love buying from them, and I will continue wearing Ana Luisa for a long time to come. So you can shop Ana Luisa at the link down below and use code CAPANO20 for 20% off their entire site. Okay, let's just start with the YouTube questions because there's only a handful of those, and then we'll jump into Instagram. Also, these are in no particular order because, again, I'm literally just scrolling through them as I go. Was having twins easier or harder than you expected, and what part was most different from what you expected it to be? I would say twins was harder than I expected because there's no way to know what it's going to be like. I would say that most moms would probably answer that motherhood is harder than they expected in general, twins or not. There's just no way to know what you're getting into until you're fully in it. Like, there's no way I could have prepared. The part that was most different, I think, for twins specific, emotionally navigating how to meet the needs of 2 children constantly at one time. The needs are exactly the same. A lot of times they want mom at the same time, and I didn't anticipate that beforehand. But when you have your hands full with another baby, it's impossible. You'd have to be an octopus. So I think I just didn't anticipate that being so difficult. Like, I just remember early on having to accept that, like, I am with one child and another is screaming, and even when my husband's there, my husband's holding that child, it's that postpartum urge to just be with your crying baby that you can't even rationalize, even though you know they're okay. It's just not natural to not be able to nurture both of your children at once in those early months. And so that was just so hard for me to accept and let go and know, okay, other people can step in when you cannot be with them at one time. How did you get through the hard days and nights as a first-time mom? It's so wild. I was just thinking back when the girls were 1 month and we were just so in the thick of it, and those were the hardest days and nights. From like 1 month to month 7 was just a blur, but I think I got through it because I had my husband. I mean, early on, we would not like accept help from anyone. We wanted to just be a team, just us, and not really let anyone into our bubble. So I think just having a husband that was so present, so there for me in the mornings after a hard night, that just got me through it. I think just having someone to be there for you, whoever that might be, it's so important. I'm reading a book right now called Hunt, Gather, Parent. I'm going to talk about it in future vlogs when I finish the book. It just talks about the importance of a village and the importance of help. And so eventually we accepted so much more help, and now we have a full village of people that help us. But those early months, even if it's just one person, like, you need that to get through it. You're not meant to do it on your own. You're truly not designed as a human and as a female and as a mom. You're not designed to parent on your own. As much as society tells us that mothers should do it all innately, and historically, if you look at ancient cultures and civilizations, like, you're not supposed to do it on your own. So a village is so important. How do their personalities already differ? If you had to make a guess on their personalities now, how do you see each of them in 10 years? I love that question, because something that's so fun about hitting the 1-year milestone is that their personalities are really starting to develop. They do change often, but there are certain things that stick with them. Sienna is such an outgoing baby in the sense that she just goes, but Ren really thinks before she does something. I cannot determine personality or characteristics or traits that will stick with them. I don't know, but as a mother, there are certain things that I notice, and I think those things may stick with them. What do you do with the baby items that your girls outgrow? We didn't really have a ton of toys the first 6 months. There's not really much. We weren't really into having like excessive toys and things. We're still not, because of the waste. So from month 6 to now, they've had a lot of toys that they still like. Eventually, I'm going to donate. I've heard of programs where you can call around schools and daycare centers to try to recycle. Our goal is to just not be excessive. We take a lot of toys from other family members. We try to recycle in that way, but I haven't crossed that bridge yet. Looking back, what has been the easiest and hardest stages in the last 12 months? How has yours and Jonathan's relationship been since they were born? Have you struggled at all connecting as a couple, with the focus being so much on the girls? The easiest stage was 8 to now. And I say that because it was so hard, month 1 through 7, that everything has just felt better and better from month 8 through now. And I think that's because we slept trained the girls at month 7, and it was the best thing we ever did. I have a whole video on that. Please watch it if you are struggling. The best stage, I mean, right now is the best stage. I love the age that they're at, but if you asked me at month 8, I would have told you that was my favorite age and stage. So from 8 through now, it's just so fun and exhausting. They're so incredible, and I am just in awe of them all the time. And the question around mine and Jonathan's relationship, I did see a good amount of these questions in here, and we have definitely struggled connecting those early months. It's funny, like, when I think back, and him and I talk about this a lot, when I think back to the sleepless nights and just having no energy, and we would get like 2 hours of sleep, and that would have to last us like 48 hours. Like, just, it was so crazy and hard, but I laughed the hardest with him during those horrible, brutal nights. And the reason I say that is because I think it's so important to have a partner that you can just find silver linings in bad situations with, and someone that can just get you through it and make you smile when things are really rough. We didn't argue or fight much in those early months. We didn't have time or capacity for that, but we didn't connect either. Like, we were just getting through it, but we were laughing along the way. Our relationship as far as husband and wife was not at the forefront. We were just taking care of our children together, but we were smiling while we did it. And you don't really know, I guess, until you go through this season of life and this chapter of life where everything changes and your relationship is no longer number one. And it's still not. Again, once we were getting sleep again, once we started to feel like ourselves again, we definitely have reconnected, and it's never been the same. I'll be honest, I don't feel like our relationship is the same that it was before children, but I do think it's better, and we are still navigating that. Parenting really shows you the things that you value most in life, and it does make you realize that maybe some things are not in line with your partner, but as long as you can talk through that and hear each other out, then you'll get through it. It's a work in progress. What's one of the biggest things you've learned about yourself during their first year? I've learned that I am a really good mother. I think that I really doubted that about myself before I had kids. I don't know if everyone else feels that way, but before I had the girls, I was like, am I equipped to do this? I'm really proud of the mom that I am. I'm also proud that I've accepted that I'm not perfect, but I still think that I am the best mom for Sienna and Ren. How you built schedules? Did you just follow wake windows? Early on, we just followed wake windows. We did not have any type of schedule for the girls until month 7, but we had a rhythm where we just were aware of how long the girls had been awake. We kind of just followed their cues. As much as I was exhausted and we were exhausted in those early months, I enjoyed that rhythm and I enjoyed not having structure because it felt like we were just following the girls' lead, and it felt like that was right in the beginning. I know a lot of people try to get their babies on a schedule super early on, and you have to just do what's best for you, but with me being on maternity leave for 5 months and not needing a structure, we were totally fine with just following wake windows. And I think that's the way to do it, honestly, because you allow yourself to just do what's best for the babies and not put so much pressure on a schedule. Now you'll kind of know when you're ready to stop following wake windows and get them on a schedule. And again, we hit that 6-7 month mark. From that point on, we have had the girls on a schedule every single day, same schedule, 2 naps a day, and it's been wonderful. Can you talk more in depth about the baby-led weaning process, specifically to just explain baby-led weaning? It is the process of weaning your baby off of formula or milk, getting them onto solids, and you do so in a way where you do not spoon feed purees. You essentially provide safe, solid foods in full form. Like you give them sweet potatoes that are prepared safely, and you give them, tons of food option. It just gives them the motor skills to feed themselves. They are completely independent. I have never spoon fed the girls. It's really giving your child that independence so that by the time they're a year old, they're eating any and all foods completely by themselves. I will just say that we followed solid starts. I do have some videos on that. I would say that it's incredible, and the girls are on solids 3 meals a day and a snack, and they eat anything and everything. So I'm really proud of them, and I'm proud of that program. I wouldn't trade that approach for anything. Postpartum healing. How are you doing 1 year later? So many people ask me about the C-section recovery, and I just don't even really remember it. I just know that I definitely pushed it with the girls being in the NICU. I did not want to be in my wheelchair. I wanted to just haul butt to them every single day. So I would say that, those early weeks, be a little bit gentler on yourself if possible. I don't know if it delayed my healing at all, but I pushed it a little bit. Overall, I would say 2 weeks in, I felt like better. Like my abdomen wasn't as sore. I could laugh without being in excruciating pain. I would say it took like my organs 3 to 4 months to feel like they were back in like somewhat of the right spot. I know it can take a full year for everything to go back in order, but for me, I felt physically better postpartum, like 3 to 4 months later after a C-section. Still have my lovely scar, but they do such a good job at making it so that it heals really nicely. I feel like I'm really in a good spot postpartum, and I'm really grateful for that. How do you make the most out of time with the girls as a mom who has a full-time paid job? So this is definitely really difficult. There's ebbs and flows. Like sometimes I struggle with this. Some days I'm really grateful to have space and time for me to focus on something that's not just being a mom. However, I would say I probably struggle every day with it. I think that in a perfect world, I would be with my girls instead of working a full-time job, but that's just not reality. I'm really grateful that the girls get to go to their grandparents' 2 different homes and experience things that they don't get here, because it's just different. It's different environment. Just tell myself that that's really wonderful. And I also am so proud to provide for my family. I love that I get to work and provide financially. That feels good for me right now. Down the line, that might not fulfill me. And it might be a conversation with Jonathan, like, who knows? It is what it is. And I just kind of have that mentality. And I soak up my mornings with the girls. Every morning I have like an hour and a half with them for breakfast and playtime before work. And that fulfills me. I take a ton of photos of them in the mornings and then just look back at them all day long, and that helps. That's kind of where I'm at with working. How do you prepare for the NICU and going home from the NICU? I think there's no way to prepare for the NICU, no matter what stage your baby is, no matter how long they stay there. There's no way to prepare for a NICU, but the best thing you can do is know that the baby in the best hands possible. Those nurses are angels on earth. They are so equipped to do this, and as unnatural as it feels because you are their mother, I would just say to just let them take the lead in those early days. It is truly the most unnatural feeling in the world. I can't stress that enough. That was something that I didn't realize until I went through it. They are the best ones for the job when your baby needs to be in the NICU. So just try to take it easy on yourself. Also, when your babies are in the NICU, take advantage of the time to rest. We feel so much guilt for that as moms, but if you're unfortunately starting motherhood in the NICU, give yourself the grace of rest. It's hard enough to be in that position. You don't need to beat yourself up. Can you please share the best things about having twins? I'm sick of the negativity. Due on December 25th, Christmas baby. First of all, congratulations on your twins. And I cannot tell you enough how much negativity circulates twins. When people find out that you're having twins, you're pregnant with twins, the comments are horrible. And a comment that I hate too, that I get all the time is, oh my God, well, at least one and done. It's just like, you don't know what someone's situation is. You don't there's just so much that people say to you when you're having twins. Anyways, I would just tell you, one, that it's the best blessing in the whole world. There are not a lot of people that get this type of blessing, and to have two babies in your arms that are at the same stage of life is the biggest gift in the world, and that in itself makes up for all of the hardships that come with it. And you're giving your child a best friend for the rest of their life, someone that is going to walk through life exactly the same time as them and are going to have such similar experiences. Life is so difficult, and to have a friend and someone to lean on is the best gift you can give your children. And I feel like, yes, it is going to be hard, but it's so worth it, and it does just get better and better. What age did you introduce foods? Did they give you signs? I would say that we didn't really get signs from them. I know a lot of people say, like, once they start noticing your food and reaching for it, like, give it to them. The girls didn't really do that. We just hit, I think they were like 6 months, and we started giving them food. No, they were 5 months. Some people do it earlier than that, when their kids really start showing signs that they're interested in food, but the girls didn't, and we weren't really ready until they were like 5 or 6 months and fully sitting up in their high chairs to start solids. What are you looking the most forward to for the upcoming year? I think that as the girls, like Ren right now is obsessed with pointing at things, and she knows how to tell me she wants milk. They're starting to really connect words with people and things, and I am just so excited to get to know my daughters. That excites me more than anything in the whole world. Watching them grow and develop and take on milestones and take on their first steps, and all of those things are so exciting. But getting to know who they are and the way they perceive things, and even the things that scare them and jolt them, is so fascinating to me. I just can't wait to continue to let them take the lead and follow along, experience life for the first time again through them. And so all of that, I'm just so excited. What would you do differently in retrospective? The easy answer is I would do nothing differently. I am so happy with where I am and all I've overcome, and that is true. But I think about like our next child or children, whatever is in store for us. I think that hopefully, you know, like those postpartum months where you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, now I'll be able to tell myself there is a light, and it's so bright and beautiful, and you're gonna get there. And so, of course, looking back, I wish that I thought that way, but going forward, that's hopefully the mindset that I'll have. I really wouldn't change anything about the steps we took, you know, developmentally with the girls. I wouldn't change the approaches we took as far as sleep training, feeding, giving them freedom with play. Like, I really wouldn't change anything. Thinking about starting a family, but worried about perceptions at work. Wow, that is an interesting one. I did not experience that, and that is because I do work for a company that is very, very supportive of mothers and maternity leave and all of that. So I can't relate to that. I'm wondering if you're in like a male-dominated situation, or you're worried that people won't, you know, take you seriously after being a mom because they won't think you're committed. Like, I know all those things flood a lot of women's minds. So God, all I would say is that I know it doesn't feel great to hear, but at work you are really replaceable. You quit your job, they're going to replace you, but with your family you're not. And with your family, if you decide to create one, you are everything. You are the machine that keeps everything going. You are vital, you are important, you are loved and valued in ways that you can't ever be at work. And that is something that I've always kept at the forefront of my mind, that family is most important, and my desire to have a family and grow a family is always going to be most important. So if you feel that way deep down, that should definitely overcome like any worries that you have at work. Also, if you really care about your career, you can have kids and go back to work and have it all too. Like, kids does not hinder your drive in life. I feel like as much as I wish that I could be with my girls at all times, like, I have been more excited than ever about YouTube and being more creative here and growing this platform for myself to connect with people. I feel more excited about other endeavors that my husband and I are considering. And so career, making money, all those things can still be exciting to you once you become a mom. It's just a little bit of a pause, but you can get right back at it if you want to. What is your favorite part about being a mama? That seems like such an easy question, but that's really hard. I think the pride you feel in getting through every single day. I think that the busyness and the chaos is something that is so stressful, but so incredible. I was just talking with Jonathan the other day because we're like, do you remember the last time we just like laid in bed and did nothing all day long? And no, I don't remember the last time that I did that, but I also don't miss it at all. I love being busy and having things be so crazy and chaotic. And when I do sit down at the end of the night, I feel so rewarded and fulfilled. And I love the chaos of it all. I think that's really my favorite part about being a mom. How has it been for both you and Jonathan to manage parenthood and work? It's a work in progress every day. Jonathan has had a lot of flexibility with his work, and that might be changing soon, so we're going to navigate that. It's just a constant conversation. I think we just manage it day by day. When I have certain things come up where I need to be out of the house all day for work, Jonathan steps in and vice versa. We just have constant conversations about, you know, how much energy we're putting into different buckets and making sure that it all feels right and it's all balanced at the end of the day. Would love to hear about Ren and Sienna's personality. I would say that the only thing I can add to what I've already noted is that they're really goofy. They're very spirited children. I read in one of my Parenthood books that term, and I'm like, yep, that's my girls. Just goofy, outgoing, giggly, vibrant. They are definitely loud and they let you know they're in the room, and I love that about them. I think as they become toddlers, it's going to really keep me on my toes, and reading Hunt, Gather, Parent right now really teaches you how to navigate that, especially with children that are feisty and strong, and I love that. I think we need more women in the world that want to be the loudest in the room, and I love that about them. I think they'll be independent, but those are all things that I hope for them. Who knows? They're going to tell me exactly who they are, but right now those personalities of theirs are wild. How do you handle situations when both cry at the same time, the first months versus now? When you have two children, a lot of people have two children, but when you have twins and two children that are so similar with their needs at all times, it is so hard, and it's still so hard because when one wants to snuggle mom, the other one wants to snuggle mom, and they are just developmentally at the same stage. So I would say it's so hard, but now they have the ability to kind of understand, like, Brenny needs mom right now. Sienna, let's like read a book in the corner, where I can kind of navigate that. And it's definitely better than those early months because now they can understand. They might not like it, but they can understand, like, mom is with Sienna and Ren, you need to just kind of like take a minute, here's your binky, here's a book. Like, they're able to process a little bit more, so it gets easier with twins. It definitely is really hard sometimes, and I would say every day there's at least one of those situations that comes up, but not as hard as it was at the beginning. When did you switch them to their own room? So we switched them at 5 months or maybe 4 months. Pediatricians say that at 4 months you can, you know, separate them into their own room. We did start doing crib naps from the day they came home from the NICU. We wanted them to be comfortable in their cribs. We always had them in separate cribs, and we had them in their own rooms at nighttime starting at 4 or 5 months. And I highly recommend that. I mean, the separation to just like have a little bit of space on your own with your partner and just at nighttime in general is so nice and needed. It was great for me. I mean, I was a breastfeeding mother the first 6 months, but I pumped, so I didn't need to be in the same room as them. I know it's a little bit harder if your baby is nursing through the night, and it's easier for you as the mom to lean over and nurse them. So who knows with my next child, God willing, if I will keep them in the room for longer, but I did like the separation for my own peace of mind. Oh, and then the second part, how did you feel when you decided to move them to their own room? Really weird at first, honestly, but the peaceful few still moments I could have at nighttime, not worrying about waking them, not constantly looking over to make sure they were breathing. Like, I needed that separation for my own anxieties. I eventually really loved having that space. Being a first-time mom to twins is so different than a first-time mom to a singleton. Did you struggle with expectations from yourself and others and relating to other people? Yeah, I struggled a lot because it is so different. And I hate saying that. Like, I have friends that are moms, and when you're a mom, you're at 100% capacity no matter what. So whether you have 4 kids or 1 kid, like, your brain is still at 100% capacity. And I truly know that. I hate talking with my friends that are constantly like, oh, well, you had 2, so like, I only had 1. It's like, no, I know how hard it is. However, there is an added layer to it when it's 2, and I did feel in a lot of ways like I was just going through something very different, and I needed other twin moms to lean on, which is also why I'm so grateful for you too, because I've met so many people that have just helped me navigate this very unique experience. This is the 3rd part from Rachel. I remember you messaging me and saying that one of your little twinnies hit send on this question before you were able to finish it, and now I'm trying to read it and I am trying to decode. I think you're saying advice for doing life with twins. Going from just your significant other to 2 babies is insane. Yeah, it is insane. You just jump in. I always just say that, and you know, because you have twins, we've talked many times, you know that it's all you know. Like, all you know is 2 babies, and you know it's hard. The advice for anyone that's pregnant with twins is to just jump in. These are your children, and you know when you try to have babies that there's always a chance it can be 2, so you have to feel some sort of gratitude for this gift that you're being given. Find ways to be excited and know that it just gets better and better. You are going to get to a point where you will wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee on your own in the other room, and watch your kids play together. And that was me this morning. That day comes, and it's such a gift. Like, it is truly such a gift. How do you and your hubs maintain your relationship with the ups and downs of raising twins? I think just being a team, being okay with the relationship not taking priority. I can't like stress that enough, because it's just unrealistic to think that your husband is going to come first in these early stages of parenthood and that you're going to come first. I do believe that the mom, dad, mom, whatever dynamic you have in your house is the core of the home. It's the structure, it's the foundation that needs to be solid. But I think for that to be solid, it needs to understand that you have new priorities and your relationship is not going to look the same as it was before, but you are going to find each other. You'll find each other in little moments where you hold hands in the car on the way to a doctor's appointment, or you come down to a cup of coffee that was made for you unexpectedly. You'll find each other in glimpses of your old relationship and old life, and just be grateful for those and hold those close until the next glimpse comes back, and know that you'll find each other again more often when you're not needed by these other little humans all the time. I think just being excited to just experience this new chapter with your partner and be excited to enter a new relationship essentially, and not mourn this old relationship. I can't say that enough. I hear so many times that parents go through this phase where they don't know each other anymore and they don't feel connected, but your relationship is getting so much richer, and as it grows, there's some growing pains that come with that, but it's important to just take it one day at a time and just be a team, and you'll find each other again. What are their favorite toys and activities? I think that the Love Every subscription, the toy subscription, is literally the best of the best. Truly, the way that their toys and projects are designed by scientists to help your babies develop, there's so much thought that goes into all of the toys that I think that has been the girls' favorite through every stage. I also think just like right now, we're so fortunate that we have a play space for the girls, and you don't necessarily have to have a room, but if you can clear a big enough space for your children to just independently play, separate yourself from them and just give them autonomy. Get a ball pit. You can get them cheap online, or you can find them recycled. Get big block sets for them to like topple over and climb up and fall down safely. Like, they love independent play right now, and they love exploring things and feeling a little bit of like fear as they try to climb up, even if it's just like pillows stacked up for your kids. The girls love that, and there's so many ways that you can just create these spaces in your homes and not spend all this crazy money on all these toys. And they love the pool. We have swim classes. It's definitely their favorite thing. I mean, it's summertime. They love being in sprinklers. All of those things are piquing their curiosity right now. Advice on getting out of the house. It feels like naps makes it so hard to do stuff sometimes. This is something that I had no idea would be such a thing in parenthood, is the nap schedules. And again, we didn't go on like a strict nap schedule until month 7, but from that point on, we are very strict with naps. They are happier when they are on a schedule. It allows us to know what our day is going to look like, which we value as parents. That being said, the downfall is that you are so limited with windows of time to do activities, and that is so hard. It's so hard to get together with people because of it. It's so hard to do certain things outside of the house, but I do believe firmly that it's worth it because naps make happy babies and babies that sleep through the night and all of that. So it is so difficult. My advice is just to take advantage of the time that you have in those wake windows. Typically we do things outside of the home after their second nap, so usually from like 3 to 6:30. That is like our activity time. We go for like walks during the days and do things more local to our home during the morning and afternoon naps, but that later afternoon chunk we get out of the house and do things, and we prepare for that by having everything ready. So during that second nap we just get everything ready so that we can get them up at 3 and be out of the house. We get snacks ready, you know, the car is packed, everything, so we can really utilize that time. It works out really well. And then getting together with friends, a lot of times we invite them over to our home, you know, while the girls are napping. So say the girls go down for their nap at like 1:30, we have friends come over then, so we get some time with our friends before the girls wake up. Then the girls are up and we have fun, and it kind of prolongs the period of time that we can see people. It's just easier to have them come to us so that we can have the girls nap. Eventually the girls will be down to one nap, but I think it's still hard even with one nap. So it's just kind of the name of the game for the first few years. Making time for you and Jonathan during the first year. I will say I have seen a lot of people talk about having the dedicated date night, like 2 nights out of every month you have one date in the house and one date out of the house. So really only once a month you need like childcare out of the house, and it switches. So in the house date night one month I would plan, and out of the house Jonathan would plan, and then it switches. And I do like that idea, and you kind of block certain dates every month. I think maybe as the winter approaches and things slow down, maybe we'll do that. We do really try to make time for each other. I would say one night out of the weekdays we try to put our phones down, sit down, eat together. We do a lot of times cook dinner, and then we'll watch a movie or kind of just unwind, do our own thing, and that's really important too. I think separation and having your own space is important, but connecting we try, I would say, one day during the week, and then on the weekends we usually do things with friends and family. We just kind of are not dedicating time for ourselves right now, but it's happening organically, which is really good. But I do think there's, you know, a lot of benefit to having those planned date nights, and maybe we'll get to that point. Postpartum, sex, and birth control. How do I answer this question specifically without spilling too much tea? I will be honest and say that I have actually never been on birth control. It's something that I tried when I was really young. It just really affected me super negatively, so it's just something that I haven't been on. I don't necessarily like promote that idea, but there are other alternatives. There are things that you can do as far as cycle tracking and understanding your cycle. There are a lot of great apps. You can use ovulation trackers. There are ways to naturally understand your cycle in order to family plan and not get pregnant. So that's the route I've always taken. So I will not be going on birth control because I never have been on like a pill or IUD, anything like that. But as far as postpartum sex, this is so different for everyone. You know, the doctor gives you that 6-week go ahead, and a lot of people get excited, husbands get excited. And it was funny, my doctor at the 6-week appointment was like, you know, everything looks good, you are approved, but you can tell your husband I told you another 4 weeks. In the postpartum period, it's not your top priority, and you know, you're going through a little bit more than your husband is physically, right? So I would say just do it when you're ready, and you'll know when it's time for you. I knew when I was ready to, you know, jump back on that wagon. So do what's best for you. And if you need to tell your husband that the doctor said you're not approved to be intimate yet, then do that. Take care of yourself, you know. Fellow NICU mama, what's one piece of advice you'd give to get through the awfulness? It's so hard. There's no one piece of advice that would fit every mom because everyone's situation in the NICU is so different. But I think just find a way to know that this is the path that your child was supposed to be on, as hard as that is, and know that one day, hopefully, you know, they'll be home with you, and you will be grateful for all of the nurses in there that did everything they could to help your child start their life. And I think just trying to accept and appreciate the experience is the best thing that you can do. Did you mourn your old life as just husband and wife? This is something I'm scared of. So I think I talked about this, and I would say that I covered this in a previous question, so hopefully you felt good by my response earlier. There's nothing to be scared of. You just have to have the right mindset is like the only additional thing that I'll say. Going into it, you just have to be excited about the changes that are going to come to your relationship. Are they off formula? So actually just like 2 or 3 nights ago, we gave them their last formula bottle. And every night we do give them 4 ounces of milk before bed. It's cozy for them. Eventually we'll stop, but for now they're just getting a little bit of milk in a bottle before bed and they like it right now, so we don't want to stop it yet. How did you guys handle feeds, baby wakings at night? Would you do shifts both together? The early days where we really had to navigate all of that, everything was just equal across the board. I mean, I was pumping, and so Jonathan had to kind of take on more of the bottle feed sometimes and getting the girls ready in the morning while I would pump and certain things, but I would say it was just always 50-50. It wasn't even 50-50. It was like 100-100. We both were just emptying our tanks and giving all day long. As hard as it was that we both just never got rest, we did everything together. I was never alone. He was never alone. And I loved that. I wouldn't trade that for the world. I got to learn from him, watch him. He did the same with me. And that's something that you don't get if you have one child, because it doesn't really make sense for you both to be up all night. Like, one parent should be getting sleep if it's an option. I'm really grateful for that, as hard as it was. But we did constantly find a balance between, you know, getting through the tasks of the day, but we were both constantly doing something. Any tips on the newborn stage with twins? I think just going into it, knowing that you're not going to sleep as much as you used to, knowing that your house isn't going to be as clean, things are going to feel so chaotic and out of your control, but just embrace. That's like the best advice I can give you, is just to embrace that season, because it's not forever. You're going to get through it. It's going to get better and better, I promise. And try to just let your babies take the lead. That's something that worked really well for us. And trust that you know your child, and don't doubt yourself when you're feeling like you can't meet the needs of both of them. Like, it's going to be okay. Take help if you're mentally and emotionally ready to do that, and just know that it gets better and you're going to figure it out. You're going to find that rhythm. How did you start to be alone with the girls? In the first 5 months, I was not alone with them. I was off for maternity leave for 5 months, and Jonathan's job was very flexible, and so we were always together. There was really no need. It is really hard in the first 5 to 6 months with twins to be alone with them, and I know that's a luxury, and a lot of moms or dads don't have that option, but I would say if you can possibly limit the amount of times that you're alone with them, because it can just be really emotional. It can be very difficult. You can do it. I mean, I knew I could do it, but you're gonna have both of them scream crying. You're gonna not be able to think. It's so hard to have 2 newborns alone when it's your first time being a mom and you're just in that postpartum period. So I would say in the first 5 months, like, there was very few times that I was alone with them. Now, when they turned like 6-7 months, I was alone with them more often. So it was Jonathan. Kind of eventually get the hang of it, and you find little tips and tricks for yourself. You're a little kinder to yourself, I think. The further you get in the postpartum period, you give yourself grace when you are not handling both of them at the same time beautifully. Like, there's all these things that just come with time. So I would say, if possible, limit the amount of times that you are alone with them for like long periods of time, because it is emotional and it is hard. Don't feel like you have to be alone with them to be super mom. I think I remember not really sharing with other people that I hadn't been alone with them. Like, I felt guilty about that. I felt like I wasn't a good mom, but eventually you will be alone with them. Now I love being alone with the girls. We have girls' day, so you'll get there, and it's okay if you're not alone with them all day, every day. You're still a super mom.
Hi YouTube, it's me.
Oh, do you want to answer a question?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, let me see.
What's the premise?
What's the video? Yeah. It's like a first year Q&A. Essentially, it's really open for anything that anyone asks. These questions run the gamut. Okay, I've gotten this question a few times, but this is such a fun little surprise.
It's me. Surprise.
So I've gotten this question a few times, but I guess I'll ask you. Anything you would have done differently if you could? My twins are 6 months. I've answered this question already in this video.
Did you say sleep train earlier?
No, I didn't.
I think you could probably sleep train with the baby like 4 to 5 to 6 months, yeah.
Interesting.
Instead of 7.
I said I wouldn't have changed anything.
They're thriving in a schedule. So
yes.
I wish we gave them that earlier.
That's a really good answer. Sleep training, we did the Ferber method, and we did it around, I said, like 6-7 months.
7.
I think, yeah, with the next baby, I could see us for sure doing it earlier. So that's a good...
They were happier.
Yeah, for sure.
Improve their quality of life.
But I think it was a little difficult with like breastfeeding and with them getting sick. So I was like, it just is what it is.
They were sick, we were moving, and you were done breastfeeding all in like a week.
Yeah, it was crazy. Have you and Jonathan fought more or less after becoming parents?
Less about little stuff that doesn't matter matter way less because you just realize it's just not worth it and you just don't have the energy for it. Yeah. This is such a waste of our time to be upset about this. When you care about two things so much, like your emotions intensify. So I don't think we've ever fought over the girls.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think that's a good answer.
I don't think we've gotten any big blowouts or anything like that, but it's just like...
How do you think our relationship has changed postpartum? That was a question that I got. Post-children, yeah.
I think our communication's gotten better because you have to be clear with one another.
Yeah.
On like where you're at and stuff like that. So that's been nice.
Do you think you love me more or less?
More.
How did you know that you were prepared to have kids as a married couple?
If you're not scared, then you're probably not ready. It's life-changing.
You just knew we were ready?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a concrete answer to say, I know that I'm ready for kids, because you never know what you're going to get. But, you know, you just faith in your relationship, faith in what you have, and you want to take that next step in your life. You know, we were both at a point in our career, in our personal life, where we were ready, you know, to bring on whatever was next.
Yeah.
And we became ready to be parents with as much info that we could gain and as much experience as we got with the girls. Like, I think that's really the only thing that makes you ready to be a parent.
What is something you are really proud of yourself for over this past year as a new parent?
I'm proud of you. I think our patience has grown. Your patience has to grow or else it'll really weigh on you. The thing that helped me get through the hard times is like, it's not happening to me, it's happening to them. You just have to be there for them because they're going through the hard time. We're missing a couple hours of sleep, like here and there.
And they're screaming in the middle of the night. It's them. It's not me.
It's not happening to us. It's happening to them. They got a mantra, even when it's really hard, then it makes it a little easier.
That's a good one.
I'll do another one if you let me pick it.
Okay. You can scroll. These are all ones I haven't answered yet. There's still so many questions. He's reading through all of them right now.
Some of these are like a little... What fascinates you the most about your girls?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's you answer first.
Me answer it? I think what excites me the most is when I see little personality traits that are like mine. Because I see so much of you. Like everything they do, I'm like, oh, yep, that's your dad, that's your dad, that's your dad. So then when they do little things like dance, whenever like a good beat comes on and they start dancing or shaking their butt, I'm like, that's your mother, and that's amazing. So that right now is what's fascinating me the most.
I think when we see something like click for them, they're like, I want to do that, and they figure out how to, or like when they're dancing with you, they're like, they figure out music's on, like I can do this little shuffle thing that I do, this little like stomach dance that they both do. And then pointing has become a big thing, hands up has become a big thing. When it just like clicks and it's like, wow, there's a brain developing there. It's just really cool to watch. You can't compare it to anything else.
Good question.
That was a good question.
That was good. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
Jonathan loves reading your comments. When I tell you, whenever I post a new video, he is in that comment section immediately. He is asking what people are messaging me. He is like so invested. Do you want to do another one? Well, I need to answer them.
Okay. I'm coming in the shower.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. This is an interesting question. How is the financial adjustment to having kids?
We're broke.
We're broke.
Bye again.
Bye. Financial adjustment, everyone is different. I mean, having twins, I would say that, you know, some things have doubled in cost, but we are very conscious and aware of the choices that we make financially. But we knew going into it that we would be spending more money with children. We saved accordingly, and we just do the best we can to make good decisions. And that's all you have to do. You'll make it work. Is your body fully recovered from the C-section birth process? Yes, I just have a big, beautiful scar that will always remind me of the best day of my life, but that is it. When you do an updated feeding sleep routine with the babes at the age they are now, every day, 7 a.m., we get up. The girls are usually up in their crib between 6 and 7, but they hang out in their crib, they chat with each other. We do not get them up until 7. We do breakfast at 7. We do playtime until 9:30, 9:45. We put them down for their first nap. They get up at 11. We do lunch at 11. Then we play until about 1:30, 1:45. They go down for their second nap and they sleep until 3. We do like a snack and some juice at 3. We do play, and then it is dinner time at like 5:30 and bedtime at 6:30 every night. And that's our day, every single day, and it is wonderful. How do you do your daily tasks with 2? We really take advantage of nap times. And again, that's another benefit of sleep training and getting your babies on a schedule, because every day you know when you have free time. I know when the girls nap, that is my time to get my tasks done. So that is when I do, like on the weekends when I don't have work or anything, that's when I do my laundry. That's when we get the dishes done. We prepare meals. Like we do a lot during those nap times. And when the girls are awake, like in the mornings, I am able to put them in their play space and they do independent play for 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes an hour on their own, and I can get things done. As long as you just are intentional with your day, you can get the things done that you need to. And having them go to bed at 6:30 every night gives me a lot of free time at the end of night before bed to get things done then too. So, you know, you just have to figure it out. You're not going to have the luxury of doing whatever you want all day long, but if you plan right and your baby is on a schedule, then you can get a lot of tasks done. How are you doing? Thank you for asking me that. I am great. I am truly in the best place that I've been in probably my whole life because I'm just so happy. I just feel really fulfilled, and that's a really good feeling. So I am riding that high right now. How did you handle them when their teeth came? Teething, at least for us, was only like the worst when the first tooth was coming in. It really wasn't horrible, but it was really bad because it was like the first time they're experiencing this feeling. And we use freezer teethers that I've linked in previous videos. You can get them on Amazon, online. And then Tylenol if it's really bad. If they're not sleeping, if they're so uncomfortable, Tylenol is really helpful for teething. But it's something we all go through, and it does get better, you know, once those second, third, fourth teeth come in. The comments you like getting versus the comments that aren't helpful at all and come off negative. I love hearing from you all in whatever capacity. Like, I love hearing about how, you know, your day is going, how good timing you just walked back in. So since you're like the comment reader, you answer this one.
Best comments are seeing that you're helping somebody. Those are the best ones, when like you make a genuine helping connection with somebody. The worst comments are the ones when like the people, they argue with the other comments.
That's so funny.
It's
I was
like,
thinking that.
Some people have offered some advice.
Yes.
And other people have like gone at them.
Yeah.
The one that stuck out, I don't know if you want me to call out. Like,
no, don't call out anything specific. Because it oftentimes comes from a good place. And I'm fine with like interactions. I love when people meet each other in my comments. But that's exactly what I thought when I read this, because I don't like anyone feeling like, oh wow, I chose to share something,
it's
now someone else is coming for me or whatever.
Yeah, you've gotten other point of views and other tips or things that people have noticed. Nobody is ever really nasty, which is great.
I welcome all comments, so. Jonathan took the dog, but he's making us coffee, so. Were you ever nervous to try baby-led weaning? I tried it and I was a nervous wreck the entire time. I think the best things that you can do, and I'm remembering now that I did film a video on this, so I will put that up here because I think that the detail in that video will be helpful for you. I really tried to just prepare myself. So Solid Starts has a resource. Pay for this package and you have all these videos that help prep you. Jonathan and I sat down with a bottle of wine and we watched all of the videos. It's like 2 hours worth of content to just prepare us for this approach of incorporating solids. And then you have all these resources that you can refer back to, all of these guides, and it's so worth it. And that helped me so much. The more information you have, the better, to really feel confident in this approach to feeding. How'd you get them to sleep? I have a whole video on sleep training I will put up here. I talk in detail about that experience. How do you prepare and buy clothes for the girls for the upcoming season? So number one, I would say thrifting is your best friend. Find local thrift stores. If you go thrifting and then you wash the clothes, it's like they're new. Even if they are a little bit worn, I mean, the quality might not be 100%, but it's so worth it. Your kids grow out of clothes so quickly. So we are big thrifters. Also hand-me-downs, Facebook websites. People are constantly looking to get rid of children's clothing. So check out all of those avenues. So that's the approach that I try to take. What age did you stop swaddling? So we stopped swaddling at about 4 months, and they did the Merlin sleep suit until about month 7 or 8, month 7. And then they've been in the sleep sacks since then. Did you breastfeed or pump? If so, for how long? Yes, I pumped for 6 months. I'm still confused how people immediately can tell twins apart. So I think people can immediately tell fraternal twins apart. I think that there's different variations of like identical twins as far as like how identical they are. But for me, I look at them and I can so easily tell them apart that I think it's funny when people can't. So you get to know your kids so quickly. I mean, early on, it was hard, especially with the sleep deprivation. We had bracelets for them because we were like, who is who right now? As parents, you totally know. How did you wean from breastfeeding and pumping? How long did it take you? I haven't thought about this in so long. If your body isn't naturally done producing milk, which mine was not, I was still producing milk up until like 5.5 months, but I mentally and physically knew that I needed to stop for my own mental health. I chose to take the approach of weaning over like a 3 or 4 week period where I just slowly would remove like 1 pump a day, 2 pumps a day. It's a whole process. You can find different methods online that are really helpful. I forget the name of the method that I used, but I just triggered my body into realizing it doesn't need to feed twins anymore over like a 3 or 4 week period. What age did they start crawling? As my 9-month-old preemie baby is struggling with that. Do not worry about that. Our girls did not honestly start like fully crawling until like 10 months, maybe a little bit after. Like they were moving and grooving and making little baby steps, but not at 9 months. I would say 10 months or after, and that's okay. The best advice I can give you is not to compare your kids to anyone else, especially if you have preemies, and also just try to stay away from those apps that tell you what milestones your baby should be hitting at certain points. Like I never once looked at that, and I'm so grateful. Your baby is going to crawl when they are ready. What do you wish you would have read more about or researched more beforehand? Honestly, nothing. Too much information can be dangerous. I really believe that, and until you're in it and you can form your own opinion on something, like I think it's better to learn while you're doing. It's good to learn and be prepared. I definitely read a lot of books about how to prepare for children before having a baby, and I think that's great. I think it's good to just be aware of what's to come. But as far as really diving into these like self-help books and XYZ, you have to have a little bit of an understanding of what it actually feels like to be a parent. So I'm glad that I didn't do too much reading or preparing beforehand. I'm glad that I really started to learn and research things as I was a parent, if that makes sense. So there's nothing that I wish that I knew more about before. What was the hardest thing to acclimate to as a first-time parent? I mean, honestly, just sleep deprivation. It is a torture tactic. Jonathan and I would always say that to each other. There's no way to prepare for just not getting sleep, but you do realize that you don't need as much sleep as you think you do. I mean, ideally, you want your 8 to 9 hours of sleep, which we get now. But you can still function and be a human. You're just a little bit of a zombie, and that was really hard at first. What monitor do you use for split screen? We use the Vava baby monitor. It's been great for 2 babies for sure. Do you physically feel like yourself again postpartum? And if so, when did that happen? Yeah, I would say 9-10 months. I just felt like really, really good, and I genuinely think a huge part of that is getting better sleep. I think that it seems so simple, but once you start getting sleep again, you truly start feeling like yourself again. It makes such a difference. What is something you were really proud of yourself for over this past year as a new parent? As I already mentioned, just accepting myself for the mother that I am is something that I'm just so proud of, and I continue to be proud of even on really bad days. And then the last question that I love so much, if you could just freeze time for one moment over the past year and relive it for a day, what moment would that be? I think that seeing the girls smile and laugh for the first time, I wish that I could see that again. Even though every time they smile and laugh and giggle now, it is just as wonderful as it was that first time. But that's just such a special feeling. It really feels like your baby is finally able to interact with you, and for so long you want to know what it's like to see them laugh and smile, and it seems insignificant, but that was such a special memory. You learn that these moments happen and then they go, but there's so many more moments to look forward to. So I'm sure that I'll have a different answer next year to that question. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for submitting questions. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Hang around with me. We have a lot of fun over here in this little corner of YouTube. So I love you guys, and I will see you soon. You can shop Ana Luisa at the link down below and use code CAPANO20 for 20% off their entire site. I dare you to be wild.